I'm going to preview the 4 seed Baylor versus the 5 seed Ole Miss women's basketball game, which will literally be played tomorrow, March 23rd at 3 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. And as of this recording, Baylor is favored by 3.5. So they expect this to be a tighter game, and I'm going to just say Ole Miss on the year is 21-10 overall, 10-6 in the SEC, while Baylor's 28-7 on the year, 15-3 in the Big 12. And I will make mention that Ole Miss did beat LSU at LSU this year. I know, but LSU was down Flau'jae Johnson. And they played close against Texas twice when you look at it. And they even played close against USC in France earlier this year. They do have a good win against Kentucky that's similar to us in terms of Baylor in terms of seeding. But that was at Ole Miss. Got to keep that in mind. You got to keep that in mind. And they did lose to a bad Texas A&M team, to say the least. And it was in College Station. I know. But you get the whole point. And Texas A&M just was finished 3-13 in the SEC. So, yeah. That pretty much goes over that. And this is the second game in Foster Pavilion for Baylor women's basketball ever part of the NCAA tournament. And now I'm going to go over some players keep an eye on for Ole Miss, and I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And there's like 2 players that you might recognize from the past. I mean, you could. Okay, the first one is Madison Scott, number 24, 6'2" guard. That's a senior. 12 points per game, 23.5% on threes on 17 attempts, 73.2% on free throws on 97 attempts, 5.3 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1 steal per game, 0.9 blocks per game, 2.4 fouls per game. This Kennedy Todd Williams, number 3, 6-foot guard. That's a senior, 11.5 points per game, 28 for 100 on threes, 80.5% on free throws on 113 attempts, 5.3 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.4 steals per game, 0.8 blocks per game, and 1.7 fouls per game. And it's Star Jacobs. And I do recognize that name because she was at UT Arlington when Baylor played her in the past. Number 7, 6-foot forward. It's a senior, 11.1 points per game, 66.4% on free throws on 107 attempts, 6.2 rebounds per game, 2 turnovers per game, 1.8 steals per game, 2.3 fouls per game. There's Sarah Dianu, number 0, 6-foot guard. That's a senior. That's a freshman, actually. My bad. 10.6 points per game, 37.5% on threes on 72 attempts, 65.3% on free throws on 72 attempts, 4.7 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1.4 turns per game, 2.5 steals per game, 2.6 fouls per game. This K.K. Deans, she was at West Virginia prior to Florida, then left to Ole Miss, and she never played with Aaliyah Matharu, but maybe they were on campus together at the same time. I don't know, but that's besides the point. Number 1 is 5'8" guard. That's a senior, 9.1 points per game, 32.7% on threes on 165 attempts, 87.1% on free throws on 62 attempts, 2 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 1.4 turns per game, 1 steal per game, 1.7 fouls per game. This Christine Iwula, Iwuala, number 12, 6'2" forward. That's a junior, 6.8 points per game, 45 for 85 on free throws, which is 52.9%. 4.5 rebounds per game, 1 turnovers per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 1.5 fouls per game. It's Tamir Sadler, number 2, 5'7" guard. It's a senior, 6.7 points per game, 31.4% on threes on 102 attempts, 75.9% on free throws on 29 attempts, 2.4 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 1.5 turnovers per game, 1.9 steals per game, 2.3 fouls per game, This Carissa Richardson, number 33, 6'2" forward. That's a junior. 3.6 points per game, 26.7% on threes on 15 attempts, 77.4% on free throws on 31 attempts, 1 turnover per game, 1.4 fouls per game. And I'm going to mention only like 3 more players really, just in case. That's Rima Collins, number 35, 6'2" forward. That's a sophomore. 2.9 points per game, 62.5% on free throws on 24 attempts, 2.1 rebounds per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.8 fouls per game. Nazarena Thompson, number 20, 6'1" guard. That's a junior. 2.6 points per game, 22% on threes on 41 attempts, 5 for 10 on free throws, 0.7 steals per game, 0.6 fouls per game. And the last player I'm going to mention is Mariah Noel, or Noel, Noel, number 13, 5'11" guard. That's a sophomore, 2.2 points per game, 23.5% on threes on 17 attempts, 3 for 3 on free throws, and 0.7 turnovers per game. And obviously, whatever you did right last game, you got to bring it this game. Whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct for this game. And yes, as you could tell, Ole Miss is not the tallest team in the world. They're not. And I know Baylor did struggle with Grand Canyon yesterday, but Grand Canyon was better than a 13th seed. To me, they were like a 12 seed or 11 seed, while Ball State got dominated by Ole Miss, as you could tell by the final score. But I will say, Ole Miss didn't shoot the ball great from the three-point line. They did not. Across the board, you got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. Not just from first quarter to second quarter, or first half to second half, but throughout the quarters as well. You got to limit your foul trouble while getting them in foul trouble. You got to out-hustle them. Do this for your seniors, which I know Ole Miss does have that. Some seniors, as you can tell, but for Baylor side of things, you don't want to end your season on a loss at home. Because remember, you weren't on the road last year and beat all those seniors. So, yeah, from Virginia Tech, as you can tell. But you get the whole point. Because you know what it's like to go to somebody else's building and win last year in the NCAA tournament. Don't let that happen to you at home. And take away the Ole Miss crowd while getting your crowd involved. Now, defensively, you got create some havoc, as in turnovers. Limit the three-point shooters as much as possible, but they're not known as a great three-point shooting team. But still, you gotta don't give them open looks and don't let them live in the paint. Either you don't make things hard. And don't let them live at the free throw line. Gotta limit the rebounding for the offense and limit their second chance points in the paint. Of course, transition and points out turnovers. While offensively, you need to get some points out turnovers, and you got to take care of the ball better than you did last game. You do. There's no shadow of a doubt. And I know Ole Miss is a defensive team, and I know they are. But still, you got hopefully make more threes last game. But it's all about selection and get good shots and get some points in the paint or paint touch. And I do think Aaron Volney could have a big game again. I think that's possible. Because look at the size, though. Granted, you got to get in position and give her the ball on some good passes. But that's besides the point. You got to make your free throws count. Got to get some rebounds and get some second chance points. Of course, transition and points out turnovers as well. So, yeah. And you got to out-hustle Ole Miss in all areas. And I don't care about the officiating in this game. And granted, I know it's going to be questionable. You got to make plays to win. That's all I really got to say about this game, like, in terms of what needs to happen for Baylor and here. And this is a chance for Baylor to go back-to-back Sweet 16s for the first time under Nikki Collin, as we all know. While Ole Miss, when you look at their history, I'm going to look it up real fast. I mean, this is a huge type of game because whoever wins this game is going to go to the Sweet 16. And Ole Miss has not been back to a Sweet 6. They went to a Sweet 16 in 2023, but prior to that, it's since 2007. So, yeah, just to let y'all know. And it would be huge if Arnett Vonleh has that type of game, a big game like she did last game. It would be huge. And hopefully Sarah Andrews does score more, but if nothing else, be a good distributor, a good defender, and rebounding too. I mean, and Jada Walker definitely needs to step up, and she did that in the second half, as you can tell. And Yaya Felder needs to step up. Hopefully Bella Funboy shoots the ball better, but she made a critical three in the fourth quarter to get some separation. And some of those shots were quite like tough shots to take. And hopefully, like I said, Sarah Andrews does have a better game. And obviously, Darren LePage Bucks is going to play in this game, but it's more like how many minutes. She just needs to do her role, whether it's a starter or a bench player, which they didn't start her last game, so I don't expect her to be a starter this game. Obviously, Leah Mataru needs to step up, and hopefully she does something against an SEC school like she came from. You know, she played in SEC last year. And obviously, Kyle Abraham needs to do her role off the bench as a backup center for, backup center for Arnett Vonleh. And same thing goes for Wise Jennings when she does play. So, and granted, I know Carolyn Ohms is on the roster, but I don't know how many minutes she's going to play. But you get the whole point here. And we did shoot the ball like from 38.5%, but that's on 13 attempts. So it's all about shot selection. We did shoot the ball better in the second half, as you could tell, because the overall number is 50% from the field on 48 attempts. So you gotta make Ole Miss inefficient offensively. You got to, and frustrate them and get some turnovers on them. And hopefully we do not turn the ball over 19 times like we did last game. Hopefully we don't, but Baylor doesn't. But if it happens, you gotta make adjustments. But most of those were like in the first half, I believe. But either way, you gotta take care of the ball better. You gotta be ready for the physicality for the game, because Ole Miss is physical too. Not just a defensive team, but they're physical. So that's all I gotta say about this game. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe, and see you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Course ultimate goal is 1,000 or more. So my money at this course, like video, comment video, really helps YouTube algorithm some more people see us. And the video does help as well, so more people could watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button for the notification bell as well.